Welcome to the Buy Canadian Super Hour Live. I'm your host, Dave, and we're all about celebrating Canada, celebrating Canadian brands. We're here to talk about some Canadian products, to talk to some Canadian entrepreneurs, and get that sweet Canadian feeling. Uh, I'm excited to see you, Ty. Thanks for joining. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be doing a musical spotlight on Steppenwolf. We have a special guest today. Ted Fuller will be joining us from Crokinole Canada to talk about Canada's favorite board game and learn a little bit about his business and what they're doing over at Crokinole Canada. We're also going to play some Canadian or Not. That's the classic Super Hour game where we try to determine whether a person, place, or thing is Canadian or not. And you all get a chance to vote. Before we get started, for those of you who are watching on social, please come on down to buycanadian.tv. There you can get the full experience, chat with us, ask us questions. This is an interactive show, so throw questions into the chat and we will answer you right away. You can also shop during the show. So every product that we're going to be featuring, for example, this beautiful gold standard Crokinole board, can be purchased right on screen. Just click on the image and you can add it to your cart and check out. Also, in the chat room, there's a tab with all of the products that we're featuring in today's show. And of course, at any time, you can go to buycanadiangroup.ca and shop from our amazing selection of fantastic Canadian brands. The magical thing about Buy Canadian, for those of you who may be new to this, what we're doing is creating the first online all-Canadian department store. We're inviting Canadian brands into a central location where any Canadian or friend of Canada can go ahead and easily discover and purchase products from multiple Canadian brands and check out in a single one-click checkout experience. It's what Canada needs right now, and we're proud to be doing it. All right, well, without further ado, I think we should get into it and talk about Steppenwolf. So as we usually do, we start with a little musical spotlight. We have one of our fantastic merchants, Vinyl Pursuit, is constantly adding cool new Canadian titles. So we're doing a little bit of featuring of Canadian brands. So first, before I get into some interesting facts, let me just highlight the products from Steppenwolf that we have. Each one is a one of a kind, or at least we only have one available. So we have a cassette. So for those of you who still have a cassette player, we do have the Steppenwolf 16 Greatest Hits cassette. So if you're driving a really old vintage car, or maybe you've got a ghetto blaster that you've been saving in the basement, this is a fantastic way to listen to some Steppenwolf and, turn some heads. We also have For the Ladies Only in 1971 U.S. original pressing on vinyl. We have the Monster album. We have the 1972 U.S. pressing of Steppenwolf Rest in Peace, R.I.P., and 16 Greatest Performances from Steppenwolf, released in 1980. That's also vinyl. So we got a lot of Steppenwolf products. If anyone wants to buy them, you can purchase right on screen. I'm going to play this sound. Oh, yeah. That's the beautiful sound of someone buying on the live show. All right, let's talk about, let's learn a little bit about Steppenwolf. So Steppenwolf, you may say, hey, they were formed in Los Angeles. They're not a Canadian band. Well, while they were formed in Los Angeles in 1967, the core members, John Kay, Goldie McJohn, and Jerry Edmonton, had previously played together in the Toronto-based band, the Sparrows. So they were formed here in Toronto under another name before kind of turning into Steppenwolf in LA in the late 60s. The band name was inspired by Hermann Hesse's novel Steppenwolf, signaling a darker counterculture edge. Born to Be Wild, their 1968 hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and popularized the lyric heavy metal thunder, later tied to the term heavy metal. Magic Carpet Ride, also from 1968, reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and remains a classic rock radio staple. Both Born to Be Wild and the anti-drug track, The Pusher, which I think not many people knew was anti-drug, appeared prominently in the 1969 film Easy Rider, cementing the band's biker road image. By 1969, political concept album Monster, which we have available here, I'm going to bring that one up so we're featuring the right product while I'm talking about it. So it's a political concept album, and it tackled U.S. politics and Vietnam-era unrest, which was unusual topical ground for a hard rock act at that time. By 1970, the group had multiple RIAA gold albums in the US, including Steppenwolf 1968, The Second 1968, and At Your Birthday Party in 1969. That's pretty prolific songwriting for a 3-year period. Frontman John Kay was born in Germany but raised here in Canada and became known for his gravelly voice and ever-present sunglasses due to his severe light sensitivity. John Kay also received a star on Canada's Walk of Fame in 2004, recognizing his Canadianness and the career that he launched in Toronto. After breaking up in 1972 and then reforming in 1974, the band toured for decades as John Kay and Steppenwolf, with Kay retiring with Mr. K, retiring from the touring outfit in 2018. So that's a good long run. From the late 60s to 2018, and pretty cool music. You know, I think in my research on this, it looks like Steppenwolf was much more popular outside of Canada than in Canada, but I think we can take some credit for that band having started here. Okay. Well, I figure seeing as Ted is here, we should bring him on and talk a little Crokinole before we get into any other games. Before we do that, I just want to remind you, you can be purchasing items right on screen. If you're watching on the social networks, come on down to buycanadian.tv. That's where you can watch this show in real time, chat with us in the chat room where you can purchase right on screen. And of course, if you missed any previous shows, they're all available as shoppable VOD. So before we get started, I just want to add a new giveaway here. So we're going to archive this one. And if anybody wants to participate in the giveaway, we are doing a 20% off coupon for next week's show. So all you got to do is add your name to the giveaway, and then we'll be doing a draw later in the show. I've now activated that, so you can go ahead and do it. But before we go too much farther, let's talk a little bit of Crokinole. And I want to welcome Ted Fuller to the show from Crokinole Canada. Hello, Ted. Welcome.
Hey, Dave. Great to be on the show.
Great to have you here. I'm really glad you could join us. So your business is Crokinole Canada. Crokinole, I think maybe before we get into a little history of the business and stuff, tell the Super Hour viewers a little bit about Crokinole and the game itself. And you know, I know it's got Canadian roots, but tell us a little bit about that, and then we can talk about how you got into it in terms of starting up the Crokinole Canada store.
So Crokinole, your favorite Canadian pastime. Almost every family grows up playing Crokinole around Christmas season. Play it with your grandfather, your grandmother, play it with your aunts and uncles, your friends. Crokinole was invented in Sebastopol, Ontario. That's now known as Tavistock, Ontario, in the 1800s.
Wow.
So it's well over 100 years old, and it was patented at some point too by different companies.
Interesting.
And Crokinole has been a beloved game for a long time. It is probably a derivative of Carom. Carom is an Eastern board game from India.
Cool.
And Carom is actually more popular in the United States. Crokinole is Canada's invention. And so, but Carom is an older game, and the Americans have a version of Carom that they play with cues, and we play Crokinole as well. And not many people know this, but there's whole groups of people in Canada that play with these well-fashioned Crokinole cues.
Oh, cool. I guess that saves the flicking injuries on your fingernails.
Exactly. The thimble is no longer needed when you have one of these. And
That's so cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. These crokinole cues.
yeah, so this is a short cue, and it is very accurate. It is more accurate than your fingers will be. So if somebody has a cue and you're playing with fingers, you're going to have quite a challenge to play
Yeah.
against.
So for those of you who've maybe never seen crokinole played, most people, as Ted was saying, have, because it's, ingrained in Canadian cottage life, and I certainly remember playing when I was a kid. Um, the game is it's sort of what do you say? It's kind of a cross between curling and pool, where you're on a very small scale, flicking a little ball, and you want to kind of move the other players' balls out of the main circle and get as many of yours in there. Is that kind of a decent description
So
of the rules?
let's pull the board up here.
Yeah.
Behind me, you can see this is your crokinole board, and here's your 20s hole. So it's a target essentially. So it's just like in darts, where you're trying to connect.
Yep.
Do we still have a good connection here?
Yeah, I'm seeing getting great, both a great feed and good audio.
Okay, so here are the beloved crokinole cookies, biscuits, discs, whatever you want to call them. There's no real official name, but these discs, you shoot from this shooting line towards the center, and you flick it like this. And you can either do a power shot where you wind up and flick, and that really knocks the pieces out, or you can just kind of push it, and that gets your centers. So
Very
the really good players, they're doing like 6 or 7. They do a full perfect game often. Like
wow.
it's getting to that level where there's certain people competing, and they practice so much and they're really good that they just do a whole game of straight
So I
20s.
guess part of the game is figuring out when to use power and when to use finesse.
Exactly. And to always angle in towards the center. So they're always angling a shot that might be over here, like hitting this piece and hitting it off and then in towards the center. Because the closer you get to the center, the more points you're scoring.
And
So
is there a difference between the board with the sides? So we've got the gold standard up here now, but I also see there's the maple marvel here, which is round. Is that just a style difference, or is there a difference in the game?
same game, but a round board, your hand is at the same distance from wherever you're shooting. Whereas on an octagon, if I'm shooting from this corner,
Ah,
it's a different width from here to here.
so it adds a level of challenge with the octagon.
Octagons are more challenging. And also another thing is when you want to separate your discs around the edge of a round board, it will just fly around easily because you're doing a lot of rounds of crokinole, right? When you play.
Right.
So it makes it easier between rounds to sort out all your discs. Just slides around the ditch.
Interesting. So Crokinole has become a very competitive game too. I know that there's championships and stuff like that. Can anyone go pro doing Crokinole?
Yeah, crokinole is like blood, sweat, and tears nowadays.
Yeah.
People are going to the World Crokinole Championships.
Wow.
500 people gathered together from all over around the world, from Japan, from all over the United States, from all over Canada. People like we had a Japanese guy this year and the last year come, and he performed really good. He was practicing at home, and so my company, Crokinole Canada, which is selling on the Buy Canadian website, some
Yes.
beautiful crokinole boards, Canadian made, obviously.
Which you can buy here on the show, by the way.
Yeah.
And when you do, I'm going to play this sound. This sound. Oh yeah.
I
Cool.
just lost what I was saying. Yeah, but so we ship all over the world. That's what I was saying. To like we've shipped to the most remote community in the world. It's called
Wow.
Alert. It's a radar base in Canada, up up north, and there's 60 radar stations, and we've shipped crokinole boards via helicopter
I guess there's
to
not a lot to do up in Alert during the winter, especially, and it's dark.
exactly. The military stay there 6 months at a time, and they rotate. And so these guys live in they're kind of like portable units, all bunkered together. It's a big bunker, and they need something to do. So they got ordered 10 Mountie crokinole boards. So I saw the Mountie as well.
Cool.
And
What's the difference with the Mountie? I think we have the Mountie, by the way, available on buycanadiangroup.ca if anyone's interested in that one. We have available here on screen right now the gold standard. We also have a beginner's one um, that's made in cherry and walnut, and then the maple marvel. I love the Canadian theme here.
The Mountie is very Canadian, very walnut, like walnut wood, solid walnut, maple, like
Beautiful.
Canadian made in New Hamburg area.
Mm.
We have people all over Ontario making them. It's
Why don't
incredible.
we, I'm very curious because, we're all about kind of featuring Canadian brands. I'm very curious about the origin story of Crokinole Canada. How did you start the business and kind of how did it work before you started? Because I feel like maybe you've had something to do with the resurgence of Crokinole.
Well, with Crokinole, it started in my house playing with my grandpa at Christmas time and experiencing a very good player, somebody who knows how to shoot very well.
Did he use a
And
cue or his finger?
he was the
The
finger,
flick. Yeah. Okay.
the flick, and he was so good. So we got pretty good at it. And at home, we had a big old octagon board, and the pegs were wearing out on it, right? And we played it all the time, though. And so that's how it started for me. Was I was into it from a young boy, right? Like
Yep.
every true blue Canadian, like you got to have Crokinole, right? So
Definitely.
you either buy a board or you grow up with it, right? And it's handed down from generation to generation, and they become like an heirloom piece
Right.
because you know the kids will almost fight over the board because this is a special treasure when they inherit it.
It's got memories, and I think that's one of the advantages of the way you're building these with such quality and such like real wood and stuff, so they are going to last generations.
Yeah. So to answer your question more directly, I was an e-commerce website developer for quite a few years, website developer,
Yep.
and I was selling products with other Canadians, such as their knives and things like that online.
Hmm.
And I thought, man, I should try Crokinole. I owned the domain. I was a domain buyer, so I bought crokinole.ca way back.
That's a good
And
one.
I thought, man, I should develop this. So I developed it, and I cold called some of the best manufacturers in Canada, and I said to them, "Hey, man, I'm trying to start up a dropship operation for Crokinole boards. Would you be interested? I have crokinole.ca. Build a website around it. I'd like to sell your boards. Is that something you'd be interested in? Sure, we'll give it a try." So for many years, I dropship some of the best Crokinole boards in Canada. And then I started bringing it, going around Ontario because I'm in the hotbed of it,
Yeah.
and getting in touch with Mennonites and communicating and saying, "Hey, do you want to build boards for us?" And they said, "Sure." So we
Oh, cool. Because you're based in St. Mary's outside of Waterloo, is that right?
that's great. We are based in an old Amish house. This was bought a year and something ago, and we've converted it all to Crokinole. The house is a showroom. There's a warehouse with 13 colors of disc, Crokinole discs you can choose from. You can see all your boards, and it's just like shoe shopping now. You go and look at your board, you touch it,
Ah,
you can see, and pick out your grain, your wood grain. So the on-site experience is very cool. Yeah, 136779 13th line, St. Mary's, Ontario.
very
And
cool. I think if you're a Canadian and you're traveling through the Kitchener Waterloo region, it sounds like a
yeah,
fun stop on the way. If you're not in Ontario or going to Waterloo anytime soon, you can of course find the boards online on by Canadian Group at crokinole.ca as well.
yeah, go buy Canadian. This is the way to go. Crokinole Canada is as Canadian as it gets. All our manufacturers are Canadian. All our boards are made in Canada. We love Canadian woods. We like these boards are probably a lot of the woods probably sourced from Craftsman Hardwoods, which is a Canadian-based company. The manufacturers, like I said, they're all in Canada. So you're getting a solid Crokinole board when you buy from us. One that the pegs will not fall out of the center. The
Right.
board won't arrive with the detached base.
Right.
It's shipped professionally, padded, packaged well. But we love the game. We're spreading the love of Crokinole everywhere we go, and what a great way to bring people together in a world which seems so divided, let's bring.
Agreed, and it's such a nice family thing. It's a great thing to bring families together. It's got a little action to it, a little bit of
Yeah,
physicality, but not too much, so all the generations can play. How old do you think you need to be to start learning crokinole?
I personally think that anybody from probably 5 years old and up, like they say, 5 to 95, you're going to be able to play crokinole and really enjoy it. And yeah, we have all the different options, all the way from the round tournament boards where you can get super smooth boards that are round. That's what they play
Yeah,
at
we've got the
tournaments.
Maple Marvel here. Tell
Oh
us a
yeah,
little bit about that one.
that's a winner. Like that's a beautiful, highly finished, super glossy surface. 26-inch plain surface, rubberized posts. That's a kind of a new thing in crokinole, the rubberized posts.
Oh,
Like in the past, they just had like hard rubber, and the piece would just hit it and then clunk. Whereas now it goes bounces. So
so that's a whole new. You got to kind of
dynamic.
change your strategy a bit to
You
deal with
do,
it, I guess.
yeah.
In the big tournament games, and I see this one is listed as a tournament crokinole board. What's the difference between a tournament board and a kind of one that you're just playing for fun with your family?
So tournament boards, like I said, blood, sweat, and tears. You got to practice a lot on them, and you got to get a lot of centers if you're going to compete in a tournament. You can win up to $1,000 at some of these
Oh,
tournaments for becoming first. Second prize praise like 500, that kind of thing. So the difference between tournament play is they add this powder, and I'm going to show you this special powder that
yeah.
they ship with all our crokinole boards. This here is ground up corn and silicone.
Oh,
And so you sprinkle it on the surface. It's a shaker. This is a shaker. And the pieces go on top of the powder instead of actually on the wood. And
oh, I see. So they kind of glide better.
they glide. So it's a whole different game once you introduce this ground up corn and silicone.
And that
So
comes with every board you ship. You're getting the
yeah,
ground corn and silicone.
yes, and don't eat it.
Yeah,
It's
the corn. Yeah, exactly. You never want to eat silicone, even if it's with delicious corn.
yeah,
And
exactly.
the corn is sourced from beautiful St. Mary's, Ontario. That's amazing. So, and then what's the difference between a board that's for beginners? So we also have this crokinole board for beginners. Is there a difference in the size, or is it just kind of designed as like a starter board
Yeah,
before you want to kind of go pro?
yeah. That's essentially it. It's like people wanting to get a like $100 entry level board
Hmm.
instead of getting something from Chinese made where it might break or fall apart on you. You want to get something that's still good. So that's why I got that made here in Canada, so that people can get like $125 crokinole board. It's actually made out of melamine, which is the same material that your kitchen cabinets are made out of. It's got a heavy weight to it,
Hmm.
and it's smooth and it works good. So I get rave reviews on it. It's a good board and I can produce it economically. So it's a win-win for both sides. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's an
fantastic.
entry level board, entry level, smaller a bit, but it's still the same game. And they love it.
It's amazing. Well, I could see crokinole growing to the point where they start to actually cover the matches, and it becomes
Yeah.
a spectator sport. I was playing around a little bit. On your website, you had a link to an online crokinole. I was playing around a little bit with that last night. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Reminded me of the magic of the game.
Here's some other surprises.
Yeah,
So
love surprises.
this is a point tracker. So this is a magnetized point tracker for keeping track of your points.
Oh
So
wow!
these little pieces here you can pull out and stick in, but they're magnetized, so they stay inside this
Right, kind of
mold.
looks like a cribbage board.
Yeah, and it's made here in Canada too. It's a pocket scorekeeper.
And does that
So
come with the boards, or is that a separate accessory?
it's an add-on. Yeah.
Well, that's
Same,
nice to have for sure.
same with this. Simple, made in Woodstock, Ontario. Again, another point tracker, right? Made out of wood. It's just simple, right? But it hangs on a
It's
screw.
nice to have because I mean, if you're playing like at a cottage on a rainy day, um, you don't want to do math. You
Yeah,
can just
exactly.
track the track the score that way.
This is a Lazy Susan. So
Oh,
this
wonderful!
ball bearings on it. So if you want to get really accurate shots and not have to lean like way this way or this way for your shots, you just place this underneath it. You don't have to install it. Like on the round
And
boards,
it
it
doesn't
works really
disturb
well.
the placement of the
So that
balls
so
when
you
you're
can have an
moving it?
accurate shot. So
Cool. That's great. And is that also a separate accessory? Is
yeah,
the
so those
yeah,
are all separate accessories,
that's cool. I mean,
and
I
and
know
we
with
even sell big bottles.
wow, people take this seriously.
So
Eh? This is real business.
sorry, let it,
Wow, super cool. Um,
yeah.
yeah, have you noticed a growth
You
in the
there?
interest in? Can you still hear me? You may be having a
Sorry,
little.
just getting a bit of a lag on the connection.
Yeah, me too. But I think we can still see you and hear you. So hopefully the audience is okay. Have you noticed an increase in demand for crokinole in
Oh, it's
Canada?
just cutting out a bit.
Oh yeah. Uh, here, let's. If you have any other internet applications open, it might be wise to close them to save bandwidth for the chat. But
Here.
maybe it looks like you're getting clearer to me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think something is updating in the background. Let
That
me
might
just
be it.
close this here. I use a lot of graphics programs, and it chose an inopportune time to update
Auto
the.
update. Okay. Well, I think we're back good. I can hear you and see you well now.
There
So,
we go. Okay.
fantastic. So I was asking, have you noticed an uptick in demand for crokinole or like interest in crokinole in Canada? You know, maybe during the pandemic when everyone was stuck at home, or has it been a pretty steady thing? Like there's
Yeah.
a heavy community. It's the same folks who are playing, who were introduced to it by their grandparents, let's say.
Yeah, I definitely had a steady uptick of crokinole sales during the pandemic because everybody was inside playing games and
Yeah,
doing things to with crokinole. So yeah, that was a real boon that time. It spikes if you go on Google Trends and you see the spikes of crokinole. You'll notice the shopping patterns are directed towards Christmas time.
right.
So most of my sales happen every Christmas time. So I stock up every year for about a year in advance, putting purchase orders in for all the crokinole boards, and then by the time Christmas comes, we hopefully have enough stock to
Meet the demand.
provide for the demand.
That's
Yeah.
great. I mean, it makes sense. Like it does make a fantastic gift, especially around Christmas time because the family's together. You open it up, and then there's something for everybody to do.
You are right. Like that's a seamless. Board games are amazing that way because out of the box, you're connecting everybody, and it's a social time. Yeah, it gets more fun, right? To play something while you're conversing, it makes it more exciting. Like especially crokinole because it's somewhat unpredictable. Like you'll have pieces flying off the board and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right?
Um,
So
we're getting a question in here from Missy. I want to ask you on behalf of her. She's asking, what's the newest product you're working on?
that is a really good question. The newest product I'm working on is carom. So I am trying to get carom boards made here in Canada to service all the East Indian people that are coming to Canada
Mm,
because they all played it at home around. It's like hanging out around pool tables. That's the same idea in their homes. They would drink tea and they would play on these big carom boards. So I have been working my Mennonite manufacturers to develop the carom game here in Canada because there is a lot of people that are interested in that game. So that is one of the latest projects. It,
cool.
it will be launching, in probably the next couple months. But I do sell them already, and they're imported from. They're UK based, the company, but yeah, my other website is Carom Canada, carom.ca, and so we sell carom boards from there.
And what's the big difference between carom and crokinole? I know you mentioned that carom was a variant that was being played in Asia a lot and is more popular in the US. Are they very similar, or are there some key differences?
They're they're somewhat similar in the idea that you're flicking wooden discs with an objective to get it in a hole. In carom, it's just like finger pool. So you're hitting a heavy striker. It's a heavier wooden disc, or it's an actual disc made of like heavy acrylic, and you're hitting that striker and hitting your colors into the corner. So that is like pool that way.
Mm.
So it's similar, but you're shooting towards each four corners. It's just a simplified game version of pool, I would say.
Hey, do you know
Yeah.
something I'm curious about is, I was talking about the similarities of crokinole and curling. Crokinole has been around for hundreds of years now. Was crokinole around before curling? Are you aware? Or is curling almost, kind of a large scale, which came first, or were they totally independent?
That's a really good question. Well, there's always been ice around. So,
Yeah, right.
like, you know,
It's
people
definitely.
throwing rocks towards, I don't know the answer, but
Well,
they're
it's
both
it's interesting.
old games.
Yeah, I'll look into that, and we'll try to, next time we have you on, we'll reveal the answer. Maybe we'll get you on just before Christmas again.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that's a good time, as you were saying, to get
Yeah.
some people exploring the game and finding a really fantastic gift that'll be hours of fun for the whole family.
Oh, totally. Totally, man.
Ted, this has been great. Is there anything else that you wanted to show or talk about? Otherwise, I want to thank you for joining, and like I said, I'd love to have you back just before Christmas, and we can maybe talk about crokinole for the holidays.
Yeah, there's not much else I have to say, Dave, other than I like what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's really cool. I typed in the search term "buy Canadian" and you popped up like first.
All
And
right,
I
we're doing
think
something right.
like yeah, that to me that's a winner. Like go Canada, let's make lots of good products and
Yes,
let's spread the positivity and the love of crokinole and family and Dave, you're doing a great job of doing that, and
thanks, Ted.
keeping good Canadian products listed all over, your site and growing it. And, I wish you all the best. I expect you'll maybe get more and more traction as, everything's unpredictable in some ways, but some things are less predictable, our reaction, right? And if we continue to build strong, we're going to have something to work with here in Canada.
Well, I was
That's what we
working on a new investor deck for Buy Canadian, and
got.
found this survey done by Harris Research, or the Harris Poll. It's called the Live by the Leaf survey, and the numbers were incredible. We already knew in the early this year, 85% of Canadians had kind of changed the way they shop and were looking to actively buy Canadian products. But what I found interesting is that the survey that was done at the end of June, so like almost like just about a month ago, showed that more than 80% of Canadians plan to make this a permanent thing. So it's not just a habit change in the short term. This is a long-term legacy change, and I think it's amazing. I think it's a patriotic moment, but also a special business opportunity. So I'm glad to be there at that intersection.
There's just one more thing I wanted to add to
Yeah,
this interview, which came to my mind. Somebody asked about a new product.
yeah,
What I would like to do, and I've pitched it to somebody last night, was to create a hockey board with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Canadiens, the Calgary Flames, the Edmonton Oilers on each section of the board, and then have the pucks printed with the hockey team logos. And so if anybody from the NHL ends up watching this interview, please contact me,
that's brilliant.
crokinole at gmail.com, right? So that we can promote Canadian hockey through Crokinole, and we could partner with Tim Hortons and sell the Crokinole discs through their drive-throughs and stuff like that. People could buy the cookies, the Crokinole discs for their
I love
Crokinole
it.
board at home,
What a
and
good
everybody
idea.
could play the hockey on Hockey Night in Canada. So that's a new product idea.
I love it. I think I'm not 100% sure how that stuff works, but I do know that you can kind of buy the rights to the NHL logos and stuff to add to your products, and it's very category specific. So my guess is nobody's done this with crokinole yet, and you have a good shot at getting the rights. And I love
Well,
your
Dave,
idea of
thanks.
giving them out as cookies. You get your Tim Hortons coffee and a cookie. Just don't try to eat it with dunk it in your
Don't eat
coffee.
it. Same with the powder. Don't eat the powder.
Don't eat anything that you're getting. This is a game, not a food stuff. Ted, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Anybody who wants to buy a Crokinole board, we're going to keep those up live here on the show. And of course, at any time, you can go over to buycanadiangroup.ca and find a great selection. Or if you want to check out more on what Ted's doing, you can do that too over at crokinole.ca. Ted, thanks again. Look forward to having you back. And we're really happy to have you in the All Canadian online department store. Thanks again.
Thanks, Dave. Have a good day.
Bye. Very cool. Interesting to learn about Crokinole. I remember playing it as a kid, and just to know, I love what Ted was saying about it being a family thing, and I could see why it's so popular at Christmas. It's it is really fun and simple and accessible to all generations. So just before we jump into the first segment of Canadian or Not, I'll just run through the Crokinole boards that we have available here on the show. We have the gold standard, beautiful, looks like the one you'd see in the cottage or want to keep in the cottage for years and hand down to across the generations. We have the beginner's board. Maybe if you haven't tried Crokinole and you don't necessarily know if you need that as an heirloom yet, but you want to play, this is a great one in cherry and walnut. Then we have this beautiful tournament level Maple Marvel, and I believe there's some cool Mountie ones as well, and you can feel like the Canadian military over an alert, watching the skies and flicking some Crokinole balls. Thanks, guys. Very fun. Okay, so let's play some Canadian or Not. Are you guys ready? So for those of you who don't know what Canadian or Not is, it is the game where I bring up a person, place, thing, or in some cases, an invention, and you guys try to pick whether that is Canadian or not. So you actually get to vote right on the video player. If you're watching on the social networks, come on down to buycanadian.tv so you can participate. And let us begin with round one of Canadian or Not. So the first one is, I'm going to take this live here. All right. We're wondering if the caulking gun, the caulking gun, was the caulking gun a Canadian invention or not? The voting is now open, and we want to know whether you think the caulking gun was a Canadian invention. And we are seeing a tie, Canadian and not Canadian. Does anyone want to vote to break the tie? All right. Yep. Okay, so we do have now Canadian, it appears, is taking the lead. I'm going to let the votes go for about 2 more seconds. Stop the voting now, and you are absolutely correct. The caulking gun is a Canadian invention. The modern caulking gun was patented in Canada in the late 1800s. All right, so we're 1 for 1, and we'll move to, I'm just going to reset the votes here. And we will move to the next item, which is bubble wrap. Was bubble wrap a Canadian invention? The voting is now active. So feel free to vote on whether you think bubble wrap was invented in Canada. I know a lot of bubbles have been popped here in Canada. There's something kind of satisfying about it, as I'm sure we all know. And a lot of products are shipped here in Canada in bubble wrap. We're wondering, is bubble wrap Canadian or not? And so far, again, we are getting a tie. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds for you guys to break the tie. We got a couple of votes coming in now, and you're saying not Canadian. I'm going to stop and tell you that you are correct. Bubble wrap is not a Canadian invention. It was invented by Alfred Fielding and Marc Chavannes in 1957 while attempting to make textured wallpaper. Now that's interesting. I wonder, they're trying to create textured wallpaper. I think that's not something I've seen very often. And what happens if, your guests start popping the bubbles? Might not be looking so good after a little while. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to reset the votes. And are you prepared to let us know whether you think the Super Soaker is Canadian or not? So I'm starting the voting now. We're wondering if the Super Soaker, it is a water gun, for those of you who don't know, was that invented in Canada or not? The voting is now open, and we will be revealing the answer very shortly. In about 2 seconds, we will stop the voting and let you know that you are correct. The Super Soaker was invented by an American, as I guess most gun-related things are. It was invented by American engineer Lonnie Johnson in 1989, providing hours of fun to folks all around the world, including in Canada. We appreciate the Super Soaker, even though it is not Canadian. Okay. Before we do another few Canadian or nots, let me talk to you a little bit about some of the other products and brands that we have available here. Last week, we had a great interview with the folks over at Purely Natural, and we talked about their multi-generation natural product business, and the pre and probiotics has been one of our best sellers on the well, we know that, by the way, we know that Purely is Canadian. There's no question there. No need to vote. We also have the Liquid Greens chlorophyll available. We talked about that as well. Great way to get some vegetable power, even if you're not a vegetable fan. We also are really proud to have Melissa Maker's Clean as part of the online store. And we have her signature product, the very famous Maker's Mop, available here. Another one of our best sellers. And super honored to have Jennifer Cummins Pluck Tea as part of the All Canadian Online Department Store. So we actually have this Canadian content sampler bundle, which I have. I think I unboxed it in one of the episodes. Really fantastic stuff. Makes a great gift as well, especially for those who are, interested in buying Canadian. As I was talking to Ted about, a lot of people are right now. So we're happy to be where we are at the All Canadian Online Department Store. And then I want to also focus a little bit on Cheekbone Beauty. So Cheekbone is an Indigenous-owned Canadian beauty brand that is just taking the world by storm. You can find them in a ton of stores, and we're really honored to have them here in the All Canadian Online Department Store. We have a bunch of their products, but I'm featuring here their Essentials Kit. It's a fantastic kind of grouping of cosmetic products, all kind of going together that you can give as a gift. And we also have, and I'd love to get the folks from Cheekbone on the show because I want to learn about Brianne's Busy Mom Basics makeup bundle and get the story on that, because maybe they've made makeup application and removal more convenient for a busy mom. But I love the way they're thinking there at Cheekbone Beauty, and we love that they're in the store, and we're going to get them out in the show as well. Also here on the show, we talked a bit about Steppenwolf. So, for the ladies, we have this beautiful album. And then, one of their bigger ones, the Monster albums here as well. And we even have a cassette. So lots of products you can buy here, but you can also go over to the buycanadiangroup.ca and see the full array of products. We're adding new brands every day. If you know a Canadian brand who would like to join the store, we make it super easy. So let them know we exist. We're trying to expand the amount of products we have available to Canadians before the official launch of the store. Okay. So I think we've got a few more minutes. So why don't we play another round of Canadian or Not? You guys did really well on the first one. So let's see what happens with round two. This is one of my favorite ones, something that I really enjoy, and that is the terry cloth sweatband. The terry cloth sweatband. It's a really great thing to wear. I wear it when I shoot hoops or play basketball because I got all this hair, keeps it out of my eyes, and it looks cool and it feels great. Like as headbands go, the flex of terry cloth is real. So We don't have terry cloth headbands available on the site yet. I'm going to look for some. But what we want to know is the terry cloth headband a Canadian invention or not? I have activated the voting, and I hope to see what you guys think. Right now, we are looking at a tie, and we're getting some votes coming in Canadian. So we're wondering, is the terry cloth sweatband a Canadian invention or not? And we will give it a couple more seconds and end the voting. And I will declare you are correct, and we can be proud that the terry cloth sweatband was first manufactured in Canada in the 1940s. And a nice callback to what I was talking to Ted about, it was actually manufactured for curling. So it was the curlers who would wear the sweatband, which I guess because you got your head down and probably your hair's flying in your face. Then again, I don't see a lot of curlers wearing them these days, but if there was a curling innovation that brought a beautiful fashion innovation that's all Canadian, it is that terry cloth sweatband. And we are correct in that it is all Canadian and a Canadian invention. It's cool stuff. All right, let's see. Let's do another one. Newsprint paper. Newsprint paper. Is newsprint paper Canadian or not? Or at least invented in Canada? We're asking you, and we've opened up the vote. So this is actually a pretty big invention. Think about how important newspapers have been for like the last 100 years, maybe a little less so now. Obviously, the writing and the journalism is still extremely important. And that's something that Canada can be proud of. We've got a great, strong journalist and media community. But we're wondering, in the Canadian or not game, is the newsprint paper a Canadian invention? I'm going to stop the voting now and tell you you are correct, and we can again be proud. First wood pulp-based newsprint was developed in Canada in the 1800s. So, it's another one of our gifts to the world. Okay, let's reset and do another one. This one goes out to those of you who love the cassettes. We're talking about cassettes. We're also now talking about VHS tapes. And I'm asking you, is the VHS tape, videotape, a Canadian invention or not? Is the VHS tape a Canadian invention or not? So for those of you who don't remember or are too young to remember VHS tapes, before there was streaming, there was home video, and it was on VHS. There was a small battle between VHS and I think it was called Betamax. And I think people said, hey, Betamax was better quality, but VHS ended up becoming the standard for whatever reason. Easier to produce, easier to buy, better marketing, however they did it. It's certainly, both of those probably beat the Laserdisc, which didn't work too well. I think they sold those for a while, and they were pretty beautiful looking, but they were kind of unwieldy. So we're wondering, is the VHS tape Canadian or not? You guys are voting overwhelmingly that it's not a Canadian invention, and I will tell you, you are right. The VHS tape was invented by the Japanese company JVC in the year 1976. So JVC, a very famous Japanese company, invented the VHS tape, although all of us Canadians spent a long time enjoying those. I know I spent a long time flipping through those video store catalogs back in the day for what to watch in the evening. All right, let's do another. Let's keep these rolling here for a while. We're wondering now, is the smart thermostat a Canadian invention? So we're looking at a Nest smart thermostat in particular, which I believe was the first one. We're wondering if the Nest or the smart thermostat was invented here in Canada. And the voting is now open. In the meantime, I'm going to just switch up the products that we're featuring here. So the smart thermostat, is it a Canadian invention or not? Right now, we are seeing a poll, a virtual tie here. People aren't exactly sure, but the votes are kind of leaning non-Canadian, non-Canadians taking off. Could it be that the smart thermostat was invented by a Canadian? We'll give it a couple more seconds and end the voting. And no, you are wrong. You voted not Canadian, but the answer is yes. The smart thermostat is a Canadian invention. The Nest thermostat's co-creator, Matt Rogers, was raised and educated here in Canada, so we can take some credit for that. All right, let's do another one. We're wondering, is Play-Doh a Canadian invention? So for those of you who don't know, and I picked like an old picture here, just to show you how old Play-Doh was, maybe around the time it was invented. Play-Doh is that colorful clay that kids play with to mold shapes and squeeze, and you really shouldn't eat Play-Doh, even though it's got the dough, but spelled differently. So we're wondering, was Play-Doh invented by a Canadian? And the voting is open now. So far, you guys think that it was not a Canadian invention. And I don't know whether you could tell by the little girl in the picture or not, but I'm going to stop the voting now and tell you you're correct. Play-Doh is not a Canadian invention. It was developed in the USA in the 1950s, and it was actually originally sold as wallpaper cleaner before becoming a toy. So that's kind of interesting. Play-Doh was developed as a wallpaper cleaner, and bubble wrap was developed as a wallpaper. So I guess wallpaper innovation has really driven some amazing spin-off items. All right, one more buy Canadian or not. One more Canadian or not. Buy Canadian or not is not a question. We're here to buy Canadian. We're here to feature Canadian brands. If you're watching over on any of the social networks, come on down to buycanadian.tv and you can buy from all Canadian brands as well. All right, let's do one more Canadian or not. This one might be a little easier because it's been in the news recently. We're wondering, is canola oil a Canadian invention? Canola oil. So it's kind of cooking oil. Comes from those beautiful looking yellow flowers you see there. Is it a Canadian discovery invention or not? That's what we're wondering. So far, it's coming in overwhelmingly Canadian. I guess there's been some news about canola and tariffs recently, so I guess everybody knows. I'll give it a couple more seconds and then cut it off here. All right, you are correct. Canola oil is a Canadian invention. It was developed by Canadian agricultural scientists from rapeseed. Now, rapeseed is those flowers that you're seeing there. I assume canola is a marketing name because rapeseed isn't the most attractive name. But it is quite a popular cooking oil around the world due to its high burn point and its relative abundance. So, good job on the Canadian or not game this week. It's been fantastic to be here and do this Buy Canadian Super Hour. We are live every single Wednesday at noon Eastern time. We're going to be interviewing Canadian brands, featuring Canadian products, playing Canadian games, talking about Canada. We're all about helping the Canadian economy, supporting Canadian brands, and also supporting Canadian consumers as they look to find an easy way to discover and purchase all Canadian goods confidently. And that's something that you can do with Buy Canadian Group. Something I don't mention often enough is when you're shopping on buycanadiangroup.ca, every product we list there, we really break down how Canadian it is. So everything in there is Canadian in some way. You have to be a Canadian brand to join the store. But we list whether something is made in Canada, is a product of Canada. So you can make informed purchasing decisions. You can always be sure that when you're buying for any product on the buycanadiangroup.ca online, all Canadian department store, that you're buying Canadian. But of course, there's different levels of buying Canadian. Was the thing totally manufactured in Canada? Does it have all Canadian ingredients? So you get that ability to really discern what it is you want in terms of your approach to being a Canadian consumer focused on Canadian goods, which is so important right now. So I think that's going to wrap it for the week. But I want to thank you all for joining. If you are, if you're seeing this after the fact, you can still be shopping. If you missed this show or any previous shows and you're enjoying this, we have all the episodes. We're up. This is the 11th episode. We have 11 episodes available on buycanadian.tv. You can watch any of them. You can still shop those shows. And I think I mentioned maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, we are going to be launching the Buy Canadian Super Hour YouTube channel. And I think that's going to be great for starting to bring out more viewers, more customers, help more Canadians discover the Buy Canadian Superstore. But for now, I think we're a little under the hour, but that's okay. There's no, this isn't old school TV. We'll wrap it a little early. I want to thank you and say we will see you next week on the Buy Canadian Super Hour. We'll be live Wednesday at noon Eastern, as we always are, talking to Canadian brands, pitching Canadian products, and having some good old Canadian fun. Thanks, everybody.